Okay, so in our last video, we were talking about Wes Watson. We ran down the whole police report, the whole scenario, everything that happened at that gym when dude came to confront him after Wes invited him to come there and get the old 1v1 that wasn't a 1v1. It turns out there was actually 3 other dudes who jumped in on this fight, and Wes and another dude both used weapons against this dude. Now, I personally understand prison rules. That shit's cool, man. That's just how it goes. If you go into a fight, it's whatever it takes to win and not die. Like, I understand that, but we on the streets now, homie. You can't be living like that, because if you fight in prison rules out here on the streets, guess where you're probably going back to, dog? Prison. And dude still has this prison mindset so deeply ingrained inside of himself that I can't see any way that he's not going to go back to prison, and this might just be the thing that sends him back there. We are going to talk in this video about what's going to happen to Wes if he goes back to prison, and also we're going to be reviewing the footage that was brought to us by John Bravo, and he went through the time to actually make sure that this would not get taken down off YouTube, because John Bravo Films over there, John Bravo TV, is an amazing dude, and he has superpowers when it comes to finding stuff and making stuff happen. By the way, just in case you didn't know, this is my boy Zero. Zero is a good dog. He might look like a Boston Terrier, but he's actually a Boston terrorist. Now, just so you guys know, I don't want this whole situation with Wes to be an ongoing series, but I really wanted to be able to show you this footage, and John Bravo took the time to edit it and make sure that it would stay up on YouTube, so that's why I'm doing this video. I also want to talk about what would happen to Wes if he goes back to prison, because, yo, he's in Florida right now, but he's done time out on the West Coast, California, for a couple months before they shipped him out to Arizona, so we're going to get into exactly what would happen to Wes if he goes back to prison, because there's a reason that Wes is out there in Miami and not down in LA, where his home turf used to be. And in my last video, we went through the initial police report, so if you want to go back, you can watch and see exactly what happened with all of that. But I do believe that once a grand jury sees the video that I'm about to show you, those charges are going to go all the way up, homie. This is brutal. This is kind of hard to watch, so if you've got like a weak constitution or whatever, you might not want to watch what we're about to show you here in just a second. Some people is pussy, son. If you call them out for 1v1, then you better man up and handle your shit. So everybody go grab 3 of your favorite butt buddies, I mean gym partners, take a couple of shirtless selfies where you're flexing, and let's go! Today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Convict Clothing. Did you know that Convict Clothing is the official merch site of JD DeLay, popular YouTuber and full-grown man who doesn't need 3 dudes to fight his fights for him? Convict Clothing is best known for its Make Pedophiles Afraid Again line. Most recently, we added our Statue of Liberty remix shirt. We've also got other bangers like The Founding Fathers Were Felons, Deny, Defend, Depose line, and our brand newest release, Shall Not Be Infringed, with James Madison. For those of you who don't know, he's the dude who wrote the Second Amendment. That's my favorite amendment, and I wish they would stop infringing mine. So if you feel like supporting me, repping the cause, and making any pedophile within a readable radius of you completely and totally uncomfortable, go check us out at convictclothing.net. It's really obvious to anybody who's been following this situation so far that old stretched Watson has put himself in a really bad situation here, because he did one of those cardinal sins that we talk about a lot on this channel. Don't post about your crimes on the internet, you mindless dweeb. Not only was he calling people out to come and fight him, but when he says fight him, he usually says give him a BJ in a parking lot. I guess he just gets the two confused. He's probably been living in Florida for too long, and he thinks that he's in the Villages. For those of you who don't live in Florida and you don't get the Villages reference, the Villages is one of the biggest elderly communities in the entire country, and it is also the STD capital of the country. Dead ass, there's tons of articles about it. So after begging people online to come and test his G, he actually went around and showed everybody that he's not about that life when he did this thing where he didn't give somebody the fair onesies, man. And then he went on the internet and he bragged about mixing this dude up right afterwards. Even though the police came, there was a police report filed, there are charges involved. This dude went online and just admitted it all and was talking about, nobody can touch me. When will you people learn? It's crazy to me that a dude who spent a decade in prison is is out here on the internet preaching at people about when will they ever learn after he just committed a serious crime. So if there's any question about whether or not the cops are going to be able to get enough evidence on him on this case, he has basically handed it over to them out of his own mouth on the internet, dog. That's dumb. Like, that's weapons grade stupidity right there. And yet this is the dude who claims to be the king of the California prison system. The hardest shot caller ever. And he wants you to pay him $15,000 to teach you how to be a high-value alpha male. Man, I just got stupid just doing impersonations of that dude. Holy shit. Now, I don't think that Wes is like inherently a bad dude, and I really used to get down with some of the stuff that he would be talking about because is the world too pussy and soft these days? 1000%. Are men not stepping up to the plate? 1000%. But stepping up to the plate and being hard doesn't mean just doing a whole shitload of steroids and roid raging on everybody all of the goddamn time, bro. And no amount of money or muscle is ever gonna make up for having character inside, acting out of morals and ethics, and just being a good, kind person to others. I wanted to give that little disclaimer before we started because what we're about to get into is some real villain arc type shit right here. We're about to watch the clip that was given to us by John Bravo right here on YouTube at John Bravo TV. He's also on Instagram and he's on X. And if you want to see the full unfiltered video, you're gonna have to go and follow him on X because that's where he's gonna be able to upload it without catching a V for it.
So if you see here, you can see the little bitch boy take out the watch and put it in his pocket because he knows what he's gonna do.
Now, did the dude just walk up to Wes and sissy shove him? Yes, he absolutely did. Is Wes allowed to defend himself? 1000%, and I'll stand on that. Then you notice Wes takes off the weight belt and he hits the dude twice in the face with it. So that's involving a weapon. That's where you start getting into touchy territory as far as whether or not this would legally be considered self-defense.
Now take a look. You see the monster lunge forward. I can't tell if he's going after Wes or if he's being pushed from this footage, but you can see the asshole with the dumbbell in his hand, with his arm around his back, and then Wes is pulling his ponytail.
Now the dude has the dumbbell in his hand, and this is just my personal theory because it is off camera and you can't see it, but dude looked like he was going down, and I don't think he got shoved by somebody who had a dumbbell in his hand. Makes more sense to me that the dude hit him in the head with the dumbbell, and that's why he was falling forward.
And then we have another one of the goons throwing a kick to his face and then holding him down with his other hand. And then the biggest pussy of them all, this fat pig, he throws a kick to make it look like he did something, the piece of shit.
Now for my money, I will never not love it when John Bravo calls somebody a piece of shit. I know that the blurring over the fight can be a little bit frustrating, but you have to understand YouTube is just not gonna let this fight up. It's way too brutal. My first violation on YouTube was for a video that had like 2 or 3 really soft ass punches in the video, and they were like, no, next time you violate, you can't post for a week, and ain't nobody wants that.
And then over here, you got Wes on top throwing over 45 punches right here alone, and this other asshole with the dumbbell still in his hand. And then somebody from the gym came over to try to pull Wes off of him, and then Wes pushed him away, and they kept on holding him down, poking in his eyes and pulling his hair.
Now I do have the unedited edited video and even being able to see every single move pretty clearly, the part that is the most disturbing to me isn't the visuals, it's the sounds of the dude. You can hear him go, every time he's being hit. The dude is done, man. It's over. This is what excessive looks like. Now, the sound was blocked out on that one part for just a second. Wes was saying, you come in here fucking with me, I'll fucking kill you. And what you need to understand about that is when a grand jury looks at this video, that's gonna open this up for them to press charges of attempted murder against Wes and his friends. All of them should be charged if any of them are gonna be charged because they all participated. But that's a serious, real deal charge right there, homie.
And right when you think it's over, having taken over 50 shots to the head and 7 soccer kicks by Wes alone, he wasn't finished yet.
He came over here. I called him on the clock. Push that.
Now, you notice that John had to do some extra editing to that last soccer kick to the face right there because it was particularly brutal. Dude was all the way done like 5 or 6 soccer kicks ago, homie. That could have killed him. This isn't a video game. This isn't Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. You literally could have killed that man kicking him like that last one.
Learn video, boy. Tell you learn video. Look at you, you pussy.
And then you'll see the dude who John so aptly titled the fat pig piece of shit is just standing over the dude after he really didn't do anything except kick the dude in the face once while the dude was already down and being held down by 2 other people. He's standing over him going, you learned, didn't you? You learned, didn't you? Are you? I can't say that word here on YouTube. People will get mad.
Yeah, you're a tough guy now, huh? You're a tough guy, huh? Hold the tapes. Came over and try to fight. Hold the tapes. Go see you. Go.
At the end here, you can see this little fat pig with a smile on his face. And then, look over here. You see that little ding on the floor? That's a piece of his ponytail. He pulled it out of his head, that asshole.
That right there is the footage of the whole fight from start to beginning, at least as much as you're ever going to be able to see on YouTube. If you go back and watch the last video, you'll see that Wes was actually DMing this dude, telling him the time, the location, the place to come down and to handle business. And then when he went down, Wes didn't handle business. All 4 of them handled business. They used weapons. They went ham on that poor dude. Now check this out. They called the cops, the gym. The gym is the one who called the cops. That dude gave a statement. Now, if you go down looking for a fight and it turns out bad, I don't think you should talk to the cops. I think you should take your motherfucking ass whooping like a grown ass man, go and bleed your wounds out a little bit, you know what I'm saying, and come back on them with something. But that's just how it is on the streets. But this was prison rules. This wasn't like a fair 1v1. You acting like that on the streets, you probably going back to prison. I guarantee you that a grand jury is watching that same video that you watched without all the blurring in it, and they're deciding what charges they're going to charge Wes Watson with. So let's get into what would happen to Wes Watson if he went back to prison. Now, the thing that makes prison such an interesting situation to be able to talk about is that it's an enclosed environment. So unless you've actually been there, most people don't know what really goes on behind them walls, homie. And also, every single state's prison system is different. You've got different gangs and different politics in every single state. I am uniquely equipped to be able to talk about this because I have done time on both the West Coast and in the state of Florida. So Wes did his time. Originally, he started in California. Then he had an incident after a few months, and they moved him all the way out to the state of Arizona. But where he's at right now is the state of Florida. And the state of Florida don't play. But also, there's no green light on him. Back in California, with all the shit that he talked on the internet about being a shot caller and the king of California prison system and being all hardcore and all that, yo, there's literally a green light. The white supremacist gangs in the state of California have a green light on him. It's a smash on site, maybe a stab on site, depending on what institution he lands on. If Wes were to go back to to prison in California, he would be absolutely and utterly fucked. And I'm pretty sure if they saw him on the streets, it might be the same exact situation. And that is why he is in Miami right now instead of LA or San Diego or any of those spots down there in Cali. So in Florida, he might be all right. He's a big dude. He can like half, kind of, a little bit fight. He's like medium tough, but he's big and he talks real loud, brother. He might do okay in a Florida prison system because none of those gangs that want his ass are over there in Florida. The really only major white gang in the state of Florida is the Unforgiven, and I just don't think that he's really on their radar. I don't think they would fuck with him. I got a bunch of friends that are Unforgiven. They all right dudes. I don't really think they'd want to get involved in that type of petty any drama. Now, a lot of people think that Wes would be fine in prison just off the fact that they believe that he has money. Does he though? I personally think the dude's in mad debt, bro. He went from charging $15,000 a class to now he's down to like $3,000 a class. That seems like broke behavior to me. He's renting all those cars, the McLaren. He rents Airbnbs and he films out of them trying to pretend like that's where he actually lives. You notice they're all pretty much empty places with minimal furniture and there's never anything personal in any of the spots he records at. Is he living a baller lifestyle? I mean, on video he is, but I think he's going into debt trying to do that to try to convince people that they should pay him money so that he can show them how to achieve what he has achieved, brother. At the end of the day, if he goes into prison in the state of Florida with charges stemming from that incident, he's not gonna have any problems coming from the charges that he's got. Like, it's not like he's a chomo, it's not like he's a rapist, it's not like any of that type of thing. And really, I've seen people speculate that, yo, what if they come after him because it was multiple white dudes against a black dude? They don't really get down on race in the state of Florida. Like, everybody seems to think that Florida's a super racist state, but everybody kind of chills together, and I've never seen no problems over any type of racist shit going down there. Like, they're just gonna see it as some grown man jumped another grown man, and in prison, by prison rules, that shit flies. So he's probably not gonna have any huge problems in prison in the state of Florida from this shit. And honestly, man, I don't got no personal problem with Wes, nor do I want to see him go to prison. I think best case scenario from this whole thing would him to be able to realize that he's gotten so far off of the mark of where he started, where he was actually giving people grounding good advice, and get back on track with that and stop being an asshole on the internet. I think that would be a win, man. If he could avoid prison and just like get back to his roots and his basics and start being a humble, kind human being again who taught people how to like not go where me and him have both been. Like, that's the whole fucking point, man. That's why I'm here, is to try to convince you guys that fucking around with your freedom is never gonna be worth it, because it isn't. Because I promise you, when you're sitting in that prison cell and your kids are out there growing up without you and your chick moves on and she starts fucking some other dude, you're gonna feel like a lame for the dumbass shit you did out there on the streets. And that's where he should be right now, instead of whatever the fuck this is that he's doing on the internet. But y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Press the buttons or something if you feel like it. Either way, I don't care, man. I'm just glad that a few people ride out with me all the time. I love each and every one of you, and until the next one, be good or be good at it, baby. Hell yeah. Well, prison can be hard.